Welcome everyone to our monthly copywriting clinic. So the goal of a copywriting clinic is just for us to be able to get together and, especially for aspiring copywriters who are working on projects, lots of you going through AUTONOMY are starting to create your offers, create your products, and you need a way to get those out to the world. So the clinic is a nice, casual, safe space to be able to bring what you're working on and get real-time feedback. And then in addition, we can, this is a really casual gathering. So there's lots of things that we can do. We can do different exercises to get some practice. We can explore different strategies for copywriting. So it's fairly free flow with the structure and how we do this meeting. In the past, it's been a little too free flowing, almost in my opinion. So I'm trying to create a little bit more structure for how we use our time together. So kind of to start out, let's just, let's see, what do I want to talk about first? Well, primary rules should be nothing new to anybody here, is just be excellent to each other. You don't have to be a professional copywriter to offer feedback in this room. This is a great opportunity for brainstorming and working together and working through problems together in, again, a safe environment. So just primary rule, be excellent to each other, be respectful. So as far as getting feedback on your work, it kind of depends on, how much. So I tend to, when we have a lot of things to look at, I'll try and put a time limit on it. We have, a 2-hour window together, and I want to use that time wisely. So if we have lots and lots of things to get through, we'll put, a 10 to 20 minute time limit on each thing. But, if we don't have a whole lot to work at, we've had times where we spent an entire hour looking at someone's project and really dissecting and really getting down to the meat of things. So with that in mind, I kind of wanted to just get a little temperature check of the room, and we don't have a huge group today. I'm wondering if anybody arrived here with something that maybe you'd like us to take a look at, just to kind of think about setting our agenda for the day.
I did. So
yeah.
others have other things, and let's hear them.
Awesome. Well, great. So it sounds like we have something from the group, and then I also have I have a client website that I'm getting ready to. She's wanting to do an update and, just kind of a revamp on her website. So I'd love to possibly go through her website on her homepage and just do an analysis and see what we notice about the page, what things could be stronger, how things could be reframed, what might need to be taken away that's maybe distracting from the core message. So definitely a website we can look at. And I also prepared a couple of fun little activities that we can do today. One is a simple features and benefits exercise. And so features and benefits. So there's a common saying in copywriting in the marketing world that features tell and benefits sell. And that's because nobody's going to care about the feature of your product or service until they find out what it can do for them, how it can really impact their lives. So we can do a simple features and benefits exercise where you could come up with anywhere from 1 to 5 features, and then try and come up with 1 or 2 corresponding benefits to each one of those features. And I'd encourage you to really try and take this beyond even just the surface level benefits into those really big tangible outcomes on how this could really impact someone's life and make a difference for them. So that's one exercise. And then another really kind of a fun, silly one for just a little bit more, I don't know, kind of incite a little bit more laughter, is a voice and tone exercise. So with this one, this is, especially if you have any thoughts of maybe wanting to pursue copywriting as a profession where you might be working with different clients in different industries, you have to learn how to adapt and write in different voices, in different brand voices and tones. So a really fun exercise for that is to take a small promotion. So say write a short paragraph. I'd say maybe 2 or 3 sentences, doesn't have to be long, but write it in different voices. And so I actually have a short list of some fun voices that we could choose from to write these in. So you got Richard Grove, Gandalf the Grey, Oprah, Donald Trump, Darth Vader, Yoda, Vito Corleone, Alex Jones, and the Dalai Lama. So these are all very different but very distinct voices, where when you hear these, you really know who it is who's speaking, where this voice is coming from. So I did some of my own practice on these as well to give some examples. But now that I kind of have a lay of the land of what I had in mind for today, do we have an idea of where we want to start?
I have something to say about voices.
Okay, please.
So what you did there is you chose the exercise to be in people's voices, like Richard or Gandalf or somebody, right? But the other side of the coin is who we're writing for. So it's not only that we're writing in Richard's voice, but who is Richard speaking to? We have to know both ends of the spectrum in order to really understand how we can write that particular paragraph. Because if Richard is talking to Lucas, his 4-year-old or 5-year-old son, whatever, how old is he, Lucas now?
Do you think the target audience that you're speaking to is more important than the voice you're speaking to them with, or do you think they're equal? How do you gauge the importance of those two different aspects?
I mean, you always have to sound like the client, because if you don't sound like the client, you're breaking trust, right? If my client's European lady and suddenly I sound Indian, that's not going to work, even in writing. So you have to keep that in mind, but I think it's more important who the client's talking to.
Absolutely, I agree. So say you're needing to write some engagement emails or promotional emails on behalf of a client. And so you have to write in their voice. So this is where you're taking a blend where you need to write in their voice so that their audience believes that it's coming from them, but also taking into account who you're writing to so that you can really connect with those emotional motivators going on for them. You can connect with what they're wanting and connect with their voice as well. So it does become, I mean, kind of a teeter-tottering and balancing act, and it depends on what you're writing for. I think when it comes to something like a landing page for a course or a product or an offer, writing in the voice of the customer is much more important, because that's where you're really trying to connect with them and what's going on for them in their world, and using their voice to help them to build that trust so that they want to say yes and that they know if it's for them or not. Whereas I think an email is more of like a conversational transaction.
But either way, no matter where you're talking to the customer, you need to make sure that somewhere in there, the customer's own thoughts are reflected in that writing. So if the customer is a pregnant woman who goes to sleep going, oh, geez, my back hurts so much, right? You have to reflect that, oh, geez, my back hurts so much in the email. And you can't say, oh, shit, my back hurts so much, or, oh, man, my back, because that would be a different target audience. So you have to make sure you know how this particular person is feeling, what words or vocabulary they're using, and then bring that vocabulary into the Richard Grove statement that you're making, or Gandalf or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So since we're on the discussion, why don't we, I'll show you guys my little examples that I made, and then we can dissect these together to kind of give you an idea of what this could look like in a very short bite-sized example. So, promoting autonomy. If I were just to take a couple of sentences to promote autonomy in Vito Corleone's voice, great individuals are not born great, they grow into greatness. That's taken from a very famous quote of his from The Sopranos. So, or I'm sorry, from The Godfather. Autonomy is a 12-week course of action that will teach you how to make an offer your prospects cannot refuse. I mean, just a really simple example where this is still talking about the benefits of autonomy, but it's using something from his voice. But even more is, so say we were talking in Yoda's voice. What you need to live at a higher level, autonomy will teach you. Essential tools of self-reliance this course has. Forge meaningful relationships, you will. So I mean, really silly examples, but you see, there's no doubt about it that this is Yoda speaking right here. Still speaking to the audience, but it's Yoda. Thoughts? Feedback? And
it's also using the vocabulary that the ideal audience uses, reaching higher level, essential tools for self-reliance, meaningful relationships. All of these things are things that these people think about as they're falling asleep. They may not say essential tools of self-reliance, but they might say something about self-reliance in their brain.
Right.
So you took like a quote and then used the same sentence structure and everything, only to make your offer. Is that right? Because if that's what you did, that's what, when I was, one of my college English teachers had us do exercises similar to this, and it was called modeling, where you took but where you took actual great literature and you had to write a similar piece, only using that sentence structure and everything. So, okay, I get that.
Yeah. So it's voice. So what I did for this, and an easy way to do this. So when I'm about to start writing, say I'm about to start writing an email on behalf of a client, and so it's going to be having their signature coming from them. I'm going to spend some time going and reading a whole bunch of stuff that they have written, or watching videos and interviews with them, so that I can really get a sense of how they're speaking and the kind of words and styles that they're using, so that I can try and mimic it in what I'm writing. And so then again, it becomes a blend of taking what your customer needs and some of the words and language that they're needing, so that they can build that trust, but also using the voice of who the signature of this email is coming from.
Yeah.
Really good example of voices there, though. I mean, it was a perfect example of how you explain what a voice is and how it is addressing the particular audience need.
Let's see, I could show you guys then what I, prepped up an example of for features and benefits. Let's go.
But are we gonna do an exercise around this, or do you just want to go to the next exercise?
I didn't really plan as far as how we want to execute this. So, I mean, if we want to take a few minutes and have some people, put into the Zoom chat, try and write in a different voice and write some promotions, we could do that. We could, I'm kind of open. This is one of the first clinics that I've prepared exercises. So I'm really open to feedback on the best way to execute this.
The other way we could do it is we could offer that as homework, saying everybody who's attending today, write up a paragraph of 1 or 2 different voices, and for like an autonomy hook or 3-sentence hook.
I like that approach, because that's something that I can fold into what I need to have done too. That's cool.
I like that.
And then we can go to the benefits. Now that we have that done and you guys have more homework, we can move on to features and benefits.
Awesome. Love it. All right. This will be some homework, writing in a different voice. And it doesn't have to be from this list. I mean, if you have something in mind of like an iconic voice that you already know, or that just needs a little bit more researching, you can pick something that's not on this list. This is
The
just
one
what
drawback to that, however, Kara, is that in terms of comparing one person's against another's and being able to discuss it, we might not be familiar with the person that they've selected, but that's just a thought I had.
That's a good point.
But
That's
I
a
was
good point.
familiar with Vito Corleone, and when she said mobster, as soon as that I caught up.
Those are very good examples, because most everybody's familiar. Most people I think are familiar with a majority of the people you have on that list. There might be some that are omission. I didn't know who the Vito guy was at first until you gave some context to it. But other than that, I was pretty familiar with everybody else, and I can kind of feel how they would be speaking. So those are good examples.
This brings up a good question. Hi guys.
Hey.
I'm not camera ready, but so this brings up a question that I had, or just a topic maybe we could talk about. In my current project working with Benny Wills, I'm going to be reaching out to media outlets, but obviously Benny has his own voice, but it's going to be from me, but I do want to use like aspects of his voice, and of, something that'll speak to the recipient as well. So like taking into account Benny's voice and the recipient's voice, but it will be from me, and they'll know that. So the other thing that kind of ties in with what you're talking about in terms of like a really recognizable voice, like Vito Corleone, like Benny, like I said, he's got his own voice, but it's not like super like recognizable like Yoda, so I guess.
And we went through, because Helen was actually writing newsletters for him, and this was a whole process of her having to go and research things that he's written, listen to him talk on interviews, and get an idea for the way that he speaks and the way that he writes, so that she could try and mimic him. The issue though was that it can be really challenging, especially like, it kind of depends on the client. Like what we found out better with Benny in particular was that he tended to, even when Helen was taking like direct quotes from things that he had written or he had said, when it came time for him to review it, he would often go back and rewrite it. So sometimes when we're trying, sometimes it's not even in our best interest to try and write on the write as, like, it might not be in your best interest to write exactly as Benny Wills. Like I would write as Stephanie and think more about the people that you're reaching out to, rather than writing in his voice in this instance, for the circumstance, because you're trying to, you know, get him, you're trying to reach out as a media relations to get him interviews and get him scheduled. So you're writing on behalf of him, but you're not writing as him. So don't try.
That's what I was saying. Like I'm going to be writing on behalf of him, but wanting to use his voice, but he doesn't have such a recognizable voice as somebody like Yoda or Alex Jones. So
definitely. So still take, so when you're describing things about like Parhesia or about his other offerings, take verbiage from his website, from other areas that he's talked about it. In fact, I could also send you different promotional emails and stuff that we've sent out for him in the past that he's written. So we can get you some of that information to help make that easier. So you can pull that language into it, but it's still ultimately going to be coming from you.
Yes, awesome. Thank you.
And if you do need that stuff, give me a poke on Discord and remind me, and I can dig up some stuff for you.
Okay.
And on my end, if you think about writing, who you're writing for these really bored people who read a lot of useless shit. So what I would do is I would find some really like spicy, or not spicy, but poignant quote of Benny's that would like pick up somebody, and I would say, as Benny would say, da 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 da, and then continue in Stephanie's voice, right? So just to spark their attention, right? Knowing that you only have like a couple seconds right at the beginning.
Yes.
To get their attention.
Yeah, and they like short emails too.
Yeah.
They're not going to book them if it's a really long page.
Right. It's just about getting the conversation started with that first touch, right?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Always remember, you guys, that you have 2 seconds for them. Hang on a second. 2 seconds for them to read the subject of the email. 2 seconds for them to read the opening of the email. And if they buy into the subject, they'll click. If they buy into the opening, they'll continue reading to where your button is. And if they really buy into your sentences, they'll click. But it's a step-by-step process. And the first 2 seconds is only about clicking that subject. It's not about telling them what's in the email. People usually get this wrong. They think it's about telling people what actually is in the email. And that's the smallest thing. I've been using bestsubject.com or whatever. I'll give you guys the link in a minute. And it's been amazing, and just learning what makes a great subject great, you know, what I'm losing points for and stuff like that. It's been really good. It's been as revolutionary for me as anyone.
Awesome. Thank you.
I was just going to add a couple thoughts there, because it sounds to me like this is really about listening skills too. It's kind of a listening skills exercise. Although we're talking about voice and tone, I think by kind of being able to identify what are kind of some of the characteristics of a person's voice and how their tone and how they present, and some of their power words, that's not only useful in writing copy, but it's also just in being able to identify, you know, the values that like your client, like if you're listening to your client has. These are things that are kind of useful skills, and being able to really listen and pick out the things, you know, like what you're talking about, Richard Grove. I listen to Richard Grove a lot, as we all do, but you know, like being able to pick out like what are the things that everybody identifies that, you know, like, oh yeah, that's definitely Richard, is kind of an interesting exercise to you know.
Yeah, that's a really good point. With,
because it does.
It's kind of like the Yoda example, how he switches the sentence structure around where it's easily identifiable is from him. Very easy to identify that style.
Yeah, and like for
So
Richard, you want to use a lot of metaphors.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, metaphors. Sometimes some what would we say? Sentences that trigger complexity, right? These are a lot of key components to writing as Richard. This is a really cool website, Agnieszka.
The other ones I had, a client gave me this one. So I've tried other subject line websites before and I was like, meh. And then I found this one. And I think at one point you have to give them your email address, but then it just works seamlessly. And they haven't really emailed me much, so it's not bad. But put in the subject and make sure you right click and add an emoji because you get like 10 points for an emoji in the subject.
Oh, oh.
And urgency.
Hmm.
Do it.
Well, geez, now I'm on the spot. What subject line should we test?
Okay, how about, go ahead. Do you have one ready? Okay,
You'll never guess what's inside.
there you go. And an emoji. Let's see. I don't even know.
I never open those because it
Yeah.
just looks too salesy. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, you're an exception.
Yeah. Good point. That's just me.
You
Well,
said
I'm with you on that one, Stephanie. I'm
Yeah,
passed by a lot of opportunities because they look too spammy or a little cagey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we could be missing opportunities.
Well,
Geez,
just
I
like
have
that postscriptum, you know how there's so much data that the postscriptum makes a difference, and I never read the postscriptum ever. But apparently, a significant percentage of people are too lazy to email and they only read the postscriptum.
Hey, all right, look at that.
It gives you the scoring, right? It has settled urgency.
Ah,
It's
That's
got
cool.
word you contains 2 or more of the punctuation, emoji, and yeah.
It's interesting how they evaluate what the emoji. Of course, you're picking from a list, so they probably have a correlation between the items in the list.
Oh, they don't care what
that
emoji you
means.
use. It's just.
Oh, so it doesn't really matter. So you can change the emoji to a sad face and it wouldn't matter. Wow.
As long as there's a splash of color in the subject, the people don't really react to what emoji it is. It's just that you have a bunch of subjects that are all white or like black and white, right? And then you got like a yellow one or a green one or something. And that's what triggers the action.
Interesting.
People are-
Makes sense. I never really thought of it that way. I've always thought about every time I pick one, I'm always picking one. Well, what does this one mean? And all that kind of deep stuff that what you just said, they don't even care about. It's just a very quick impression type of thing.
Very quick. It's like 0.2 of a second. It's where like they're looking at a screen, there's 20 subjects on it. Which one are they gonna click? Are they gonna click on A? And the one with a splash of color, it hangs their attention for like a split second more.
Mm-hmm.
this is great. I'm definitely gonna be adding this to my
Put a bad one
list
in.
of copywriting tools. What?
Put a bad one in.
Put a bad one in. Okay, how do I start over?
Scroll down. I didn't know the first
Ah.
time. Scroll down right there.
Well, okay, someone else give me something.
Mr. Smith, this is for another time.
Ah,
This is, but yeah, like I said, I just gave them my email address and it's been seamless ever since. It's just the second time it asks you for an email address. You can always VPN them and change your VPN and do anything.
Yeah. To defeat that.
Kara's like, no, it's worth it.
fine. I don't want to use this one. I work one.
It's totally worth it. Like I said, they haven't, I think they
Better
gave them
be.
email though, so.
Oh, I don't like this. I'm just gonna pick
One
something.
for, okay.
Really, it requires my phone number?
I didn't let her. Sorry, it's Mexico.
Go.
Did you guys hear the background?
Oh, company? Oh.
Yeah, it sounded like kids playing.
No, it was definitely adults. It is a Friday afternoon in Mexico.
Boy, there's so much going on this page, all like competing for my attention.
You got 78.
Needs subtle urgency. It's a comma. Contains comma. No. contains punctuation. Interesting. Well, that's cool. Definitely
It
use
says,
this.
am I reading that correctly? It says contains punctuation plus 4 points. The more points you have, the worse it is.
No, the better it is. So you got punctuation,
minus.
don't like comma. They want you to use other punctuation. So punctuation is good, but comma bad. That's what they're telling you here.
Interesting.
Switch to an exclamation mark and it'll be good. Actually, if you just take that, check this out, take that subject, Kara, the list, copy it from there and switch the comma to exclamation. And then instead of another time, no, wait, instead of another time, put now. And then put emoji. Okay, fine. It's 7 points for emoji, so you get 7 points more.
See, and I also think that, I don't know, something about with the emoji, I think it kind of depends on who you're, wouldn't you say it also depends on who you're talking to? Like who, I feel like some.
Ends with now is a minus.
Oh, that's funny. Well, because isn't that a spam trigger?
Yeah.
Because now can be a spam trigger.
But
word,
according
right?
to the urgency that they've been trying to get me.
Right,
to-
right.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing to play with.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, I added the word update to a very bad subject, and it went up to 100.
That's funny.
And of course, and an emoji.
What if you put this is for today or tonight or soon? Like, are any of those words bad?
Not much difference.
Oh, ends with today is minus 15 points.
Contains the word today is plus.
What?
Contains the word today as a plus, but ends with the word today as a minus.
Oh, wait, what? That's so weird. That's so funny.
See, this is
Hey, you
how
need to be like Yoda. You need to go, today this is for.
Exclamation mark.
I really would. Exclamation point. Well, sorry.
Well, that's a pretty cool tool. That's definitely something that's.
Yeah. Oh, 100.
So
100. Oh my gosh, look at that.
But some emails, I was doing all these transactional emails, and the client's like, make sure you use that tool for everything, and I want 100% for most subjects. Then sometimes I just can't phrase it in a way that'll generate 100%. Like, this is your new password link. You know what I mean? Like, there's only so many ways you can say that.
Yeah.
Here's your new password link. Check it now. Yeah, then now. Shit.
Well, Carol, would now be a good time to to suggest what I would like to evaluate here?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
So what, yeah.
It's basically right off the webpage. I'll put in the chat here what it is. We don't need to everybody go to the webpage.
Yeah, I'll screen share.
Yeah, that's cool. Basically,
Oh, I see.
it's the things with under the capital letters there, the pirates, publishers, and all people, and the stuff under developers, as to what would be a better way to phrase this. Now, I'm very conflicted.
I'm gonna get this into a document so that we can look at it together. Just one quick second. I'm gonna copy all this in and then to hear everything that you have to say.
I think it's published twice. Yeah, there's two. It's not as long as that. It's actually been pasted twice. So it's really only down to where it says, join us today as the last part.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So, got it.
Yep, that's it.
All right, so prep us for this. What are we looking at?
Okay, this is right on the home page of the piratebox.info website, and it's not a whole lot of text, and basically the call to action is for people to just look at what we have here on this website, and I have an explicit statement of where they should be looking for that, and also two audiences: the everyone audience and then specifically the developers audience. So there are two audiences being addressed. And basically, I'm just.
The everyone is not an audience. The everyone is a crutch that hobbles you forever.
Yeah, the everyone is not a target audience per se. I did go with two explicit target audiences, pirates and publishers, but what's a pirate? So even that's very generic. But I was at a loss to how to phrase this and how to do this, and even who my freaking audience is something that I don't really have a precise handle on. It's difficult for me to come up with words when you don't have a handle on who your explicit audience is. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you decide and then you make it for them, right? You decide who their explicit audience is and you make it for them. And if it comes out that it's somebody else, then you change everything to that other person. But tell us about these publishers. What kind of publishers? What are they? Like, are they freedom fighters?
Ernie Hancock is the first publisher I think of, but then he's just one. I mean,
When
any
I say
publisher.
Ernie Hancock, publisher, does not come to mind.
I'm sorry?
When I think Ernie Hancock, publisher is not a word that comes in that at all. So
Oh.
yeah, Ernie Hancock, but maybe there's a different word to describe it. Freedom fighter? You know what I mean? Because publishers to me is completely like this analogous from pirates. Like it's like flower sellers and milkmaids.
Maybe like content creators or maybe alt media.
And all people, I'm sorry, Thomas, but I hate all people because all people is nobody. As soon as I see all people, I realize it's not for me. Even if I'm a pirate and a publisher at the same time, as soon as I see all people, I'm like, okay, bye. Because I'm not all people. And fuck you for saying that.
Gotcha.
Jeez, so aggressive there.
No, but
Would it boil? Well, would it boil?
The subconscious reaction is that exactly. You know what I mean? Like who are you to tell me who I am or what I think? You know what I mean?
Well, and so you can always start with that process of elimination of who is this not for, and start. That's one way. Is if you're really having a hard time of trying to like hone in on who that audience is, start thinking about who it's not for, and then you're going to start to cut away huge chunks of people and realize, wait, this isn't for all people. Because when we try to write messages for everyone, we end up talking to no one. And that's why it is so important to start getting clear.
That's an excellent point.
So who is this not for?
This isn't. The first thing that I want to say is it's not for people that want a immediate turnkey, plug it in and it solves every problem in the world for them. So the people that it is targeting towards is the people that I've targeted on my features and solutions. It's my solutions page, which lists the problems that it solves. And then on the features page, it lists what the benefit is first, and then it describes the feature after the benefit. So those are on secondary pages. Those are not here on the main page though. So what was your question again, Kira? I kind of lost track here.
I was just thinking about who is this not for, to try and like hone in on who this is for. So, I mean, obviously people that don't care about their data going everywhere, people that don't care, about privacy and personal sovereignty and freedom. That's, we're starting to kind of get into the realm.
Right. Yeah, those are very broad strokes, but yeah, those are people that would not be interested in this. People that that believe in the mainstream, that don't care about the privacy. Those are definitely people that are not in the target audience that we're looking for sure.
And so you're already, just by what you said there, you're already starting to get there. So this is for people who do care about privacy, who do care about, about that, about privacy, about that freedom. What else do they care about?
I have a couple questions. Do all developers care about privacy?
No, all developers do not care about privacy.
What about publishers? Do all publishers care about privacy?
No, some publishers think that privacy is the worst thing for them.
So what we need to do is find that sentence that the people that really want it, whether they're developers, publishers, priests, or whoever, the people really like, I mean, it's conceivable that a priest would want to have a secure private IPFS platform. You know what I mean? So don't exclude people by saying developers or publishers. Include people by saying, if you really care about freedom, this is for you.
Good point. That's a very good point.
And privacy.
So is this then intended to be two different statements, basically speaking to two different audiences? Is this what we're striving to do up here?
Well, yeah, I would say it is targeting two different audiences. The developer section is explicitly for, it was trying to attract developers to look at a platform that has just been released, a brand new thing that I've created, to see what they can do with it, to attract them to say, this is something that probably would fit your needs if you're interested in privacy and the other things that that this thing represents. So it could be exactly the solution you need for your next project. But again, this is new to me, and I've never been the greatest marketer, so I'm definitely on the learning curve here for sure.
And if I ask aggressive questions, it's not because I think that you should know this or whatever, just because I find it easiest to explain things in strong ways. So now, these people that care about freedom and privacy and really want privacy, why would they come to your website?
Well, this is currently the only web page out there, but eventually I was planning to write a more sales funnel page that would bring them here. So that has not been done yet, but that would
But
be
what
more
would,
of
how
the.
would they end up there? Like, what would bring them there? Like, would they be researching? What would they be researching?
Mostly where they'd be brought to this site would be from the circle of people in the social media that I'm involved with. It's going to be people from AUTONOMY, although I have to say, since I made the announcement Wednesday, I haven't seen anybody come other than just pop in to say, hey, I've been here, but no questions or no interest beyond that. So I'm not sure how many people in AUTONOMY would be coming here, to be honest with you.
That's obvious that they wouldn't stay around, because you're starting with the thing that you care about, and you're not starting with the thing that they care about. What you want them to do is to come to the page and look at the solutions page, but they don't want to do that. That's not what they want. You want them to read the quick start guide, but they don't really want to do that. They're there for freedom and privacy, and you're giving them some fucking quick start. What? I don't want to read a bunch of stuff. I want to know what you can do for me for freedom and privacy right now, as fast as I can. In 2 seconds, I want to know how you're going to help me maintain freedom and privacy. And I'm not going to look at any solutions page or any quick start guide or anything that takes more of my time, because I already think that it's a waste of my time, because you're asking me to do something that you care about and I don't care about.
It's like the trust hasn't been built yet. Once there's, that trust is, and they say, oh, this person, they get it. This is absolutely, this is speaking to me. Then they're going to be more interested to wanting to read your quick start guide or wanting to go to your solutions page. But we need to build that trust first.
Okay, very good input.
And then also, first things, first words that you want them to hear, to see on their page is the people that really, really, really want to buy from you, the people that are really, really in your inner circle of buyers who really, really are primed, like they're already ready, they're already looking for an IPFS platform, right? Those people, and they're falling asleep at night. What are they thinking about? What is their thing that's like nagging in there? And then the exact words that are playing over and over in their head, you need to put them front and center on your website, right there. So that as I land on your website, you're telling me the sentence that I was thinking last night as I was falling asleep. Right? And then I know I'm in the right place. Because as soon as I read my own thoughts on your page, I know I'm home.
Mm-hmm. And you can find out this information with audience research and with conducting surveys or having interviews with people and just really asking the questions that they need to hear to get the answers that you're looking for. So, audience research without, the first kind of audience research is one that like Stephanie's doing right now for one of our clients. And she's going around to all sorts of comment threads, like on, relevant YouTube videos, for example, that have lots and lots of comments, and scouring those comments to find out, okay, what are these people, what are they dealing with? What are their anxieties and their fears? It's going into discussion forums related to topics, you know, related to what you're offering, and finding out what people are talking about. And so then you can start to capture that information in that exact vernacular. So then you can turn it around and use it back in your marketing. And then, you know, it's a really, really good strategy. It's Sabri Subi, Sell Like Crazy. That's where I first learned about the Halo audience research. And that's you know, one of the techniques that he uses. And honestly, surveys are really, really powerful. I've been utilizing them a lot more in the last year, sending out really simple surveys, just asking the questions and letting people give their responses. And you can get really amazing information. I did one for a really successful survey I did for Andrew Kaufman and getting his audience. So he's putting out a new course on detoxing. And so we wanted to find out, for writing the sales page, for writing all the marketing, like, what do people want? What kind of experiences have they had in the past with their health, with doctors? So we put together this survey, and oh my God, I mean, he's got a big mailing list, but I got almost 400 responses back that took a long time to sift through. But oh my God, the amazing amount of data that I have now that I can reference every time I need to write something new for that course. It's just like this giant stockpile of gold. And what's great about when you have people that you can reach out to a survey, what's really great is you have a direct line to your target audience. Whereas scouring the internet for comment threads and discussions is it's a really great way to get ideas for language, but ultimately you don't know if that's your target audience or not. They might be, that might be your dream buyer, but you're just looking on the internet, so you don't really know. Whereas when you can send out a survey or have an interview with somebody that you know is interested in what you have to offer, that's where you're going to get the gold, is getting that direct line. Yeah.
I just wanted to really quickly jump in, Cara, that maybe because hello everyone, I've started to help a little bit to the Bigelson family, and they also have kind of like medical treatment, or actually it's an assessment. They basically, what they do, they have the sample of the blood, but it's not like.
Oh, you got muted there for somehow.
Okay. Thank you. They have special kind of looking into the blood, and they basically it's mind-blowing for me. Basically, what they can see, it's holograms that your body will tell in picture in your blood what is wrong with your body. And maybe because the Bigelson family, they joined the AUTONOMY, and maybe those survey that you once did for Kaufman will be also good for Bigelsons anyway.
Definitely. Yeah, the survey, it's such a powerful tool. And so, you know, it's kind of working backwards. So first, you know, when you're developing a survey, you want to start thinking about, just first step is, what do I want to know? What am I trying to find out from these people? And when am I trying to find out what problems they're facing? Am I trying to find out what they want? Am I trying to get some new kind of descriptive language on what they think of a product or a service? So figuring out first, bullet pointing, what am I trying to find out from the survey? And then you start figuring out and brainstorming how to ask the right questions to get the answers that you're looking for. And so sometimes it's, you know, a mix of doing multiple choice, and how, you know, especially when, like, one thing I learned with Andrew Kaufman's survey is I did a lot of open-ended questions, which is great and not great at the same time, because let me tell you what, having almost 400 responses to this survey with several open-ended questions, I mean, that was like hours of hundreds and hundreds of responses to sift through. So I learned that in some cases it's better to have multiple choice, where you can get a nice snapshot using a service like Typeform, you know, or there's other great free survey tools you can use, but you can get a really nice snapshot of, you know, the top responses. So but it's just figuring out what you want to know, and then how to ask the right questions to get that gold. And it's always good to offer some kind of an incentive, you know, for people's time, to respect people's time. If you can offer, you know, if you can offer a coupon, or you can offer, you know, something, that's always really helpful. It also depends, like, you know, Kaufman has a very dedicated audience. So we didn't have to really offer a whole lot of anything to get some, you know, responses from him, from his people. So.
By the way, I really loved his lecture on water. That was great. So I discovered another thing, or I started using another tool last week from this new client who changes his mind a lot. Because some clients change their mind a lot. And sometimes it's hard to find. So this guy hired me to write like 150 emails, right? But then he's like, oh, no. We're not gonna use the word suspended. We're gonna use the word pause in all the emails. Go change it. And then next day he goes, hey, you know what? The word created, we're not gonna use the word created a profile. We're gonna say activated a profile. Go back to all the 100 emails and find created and change it to activated. So what I did is I created a spreadsheet, just like we do with the Halo strategy. Like I actually did it before he even started doing it because I knew he would do it because I could tell he was one of those guys who's gonna go 7 days, no, 15 days, no, 20 days. You know what I mean? Like I could tell. So I did columns and the email name, the time period, like after 1 day, after this, 2 days after this, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Subject, pre-header, and main body in a spreadsheet, right? So I'm editing all these emails in a spreadsheet. So then he goes, hey, all the emails that say created in them. So I go to my spreadsheet, I go Control F, created, and it says even email 17, 22, and 52 refer to the word created. And then I just go into the actual system and just edit those 3 emails. It's super great. Highly recommend it. 10 out of 10.
Nice.
And he's already changed 6 times since I created the original spreadsheet. Like
I've definitely had I've had some issues with clients and changing their mind, and one part of it I've had issues with is getting clear on the offer, on what the primary offer is. And then I've had clients, switching up over time on what they actually want to offer to their people, and it definitely creates quite a bottleneck when I'm writing. We're like, what is the primary thing that you want somebody to do when they come here? What's the offer? And everything else gets structured around that. And I'm just thinking about clients changing their mind on stuff.
This guy has a really clear offer, but he changes his mind about how he's gonna deliver it, like timing, what's gonna be free, what's gonna be paid, and all that stuff. But he's super happy paying for my hours for going back and changing these things. He's like, don't worry, we'll change it 100 more times. This is just the changes for this week. Next week, we're gonna come up with new changes. And he's like, and I expect you to go over these emails at least 10 more times and make more changes. And he just wants to continue paying me for the same emails until he has them perfect the way he wants them. And okay.
All right. Sure.
When I pay my wages to go back and edit emails in the system, I'm like, so I'll edit them in the spreadsheet. You can get somebody else to edit them in the system. He's like, no, I don't trust anybody else. You edit them. You put them. You make sure they're finished in the system.
So I guess to rein us back in here, Thomas, is I would definitely think a bit of audience research is going to be some of the next things on your agenda. And so start to have some conversations and think about what kind of questions that you want to ask people. And you can start with just those that are right in your sphere even, and just start kind of asking questions of what these, developers or publishers or content creators, like what they're looking for in relation to this, and start to get that language so that you can start to speak back to your target audience in their own words.
I'm actually intrigued by the idea of a survey, because a survey is more broad in terms of be people that I might not even had any exposure to before. And there's a lot of people that express interest, but I don't understand why they're expressing interest. I mean, I think they hear a buzzword and they want to know more about it, but it's very vague in their mind what it can do for anybody, let alone themselves. So a survey is more broad and open-ended in terms of capturing information. So I'm going to be thinking about the survey approach and how I can word one in maybe 2 or 3 questions, even something simple like that, to get information.
Definitely. And just from what you were just talking there, you're starting to already figure out, like, what do we want to know? And part of that is also figuring out what stage of awareness your clients are going to be in. How aware are they of the problems that are out there? And so we'll do like a really quick rundown for everybody here on the stages of awareness in case you're not familiar. So there's 5 stages of awareness, going from the bottom, which is completely unaware, to totally aware of your product and what they have to offer. So completely unaware, don't even know that you're out there. They're not even aware that there's a problem. Then the second stage is problem aware. They know that there's a problem out there. They know that there's an issue with privacy and with what you're offering, related to this industry. They know that there's a problem, but they don't know what the solutions are. Then they become solution aware, where they know that solutions exist. Oh man, there's like this yard work right outside my window. I hope that that's not too distracting. He'll walk by in a second. Solution aware, they know that solutions exist. They know that there's different things out there, but they don't know enough to make a decision. So then the fourth stage becomes product aware, where they become aware of your solution and what you have to offer. And that's where a lot of writing that we're going to do on things like sales pages and landing pages are going to be in that sphere of that, solution aware to product aware, like right in that area where you're going to just hit them with all the information. That's where they are ready to hear it all. They want to know everything about your product so that they can make an informed decision. Then, leads into, the fifth stage with they're completely aware. So it's good to, once you can figure out when people are landing on your website, what stage of awareness that they're at, then you can have a better idea of how to structure your language. So if they're aware that there's a problem, that's your opportunity. When they're problem aware, that's your opportunity to connect with them in that problem, offer empathy, show them that you get it and you understand the challenges that they're dealing with. Because then, the whole goal is to move somebody along in those stages of awareness and try and move them into that product aware and most aware stage.
Darn lawnmowers.
No, now he's got the blower thing, the leaf blower. Okay, he's walking away.
Tara, what was the fifth? With the fifth stage, it was.
Fifth stage is most aware.
Okay.
Most aware. So those are going to be for example, those are going to be the people that they know exactly what the product is and they know that they want it. So that's going to be somebody that's going to a search engine and they're immediately going to be searching for your product and they are ready to buy. That's where they become most aware. And so we're trying to take them from completely unaware. Oftentimes we're starting with people with problem aware. We're connecting at that stage where, they know that there's an issue, but they don't know what the solutions are yet. And we're trying to take them and move them along one by one, not skipping over, one by one, move them into most aware, where they're most ready, where they're ready to say yes. They have everything they need. They feel heard, they feel safe, there's trust, and they're ready to take action.
Good input. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So
yeah, I knew when I put this website together, I had a lot more work to do, but I wanted to get some out there at least to get started. And once you're moving, then you can move and steer where you need to go. But if you're not moving at all, then you're not going anywhere. So I thought I'd better be getting something done.
You sound like an autonomy student.
Gee, it might be.
That's good. Doing it live. Better than not taking any action at all. So yeah, I'm excited to see what progress you make and what kind of improvements that you make to this. And I hope that you'll show us some progress maybe at the next clinic next month.
Yeah, hope to as well. And hopefully get a lot more done before then, but it's going to be a busy month for sure.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm anxious to see, Michael and I talked about an interview, so that'll probably be the first real actual work that's going to be done towards getting more information to where I can refine that information to fold it into changes to the website, etc.
Awesome. Is that going to be like an open interview too? Or are you going to have more people having like discussion?
Well, as a matter of fact, it might be an opportunity to do a small survey. We could announce it in Autonomy, maybe have a couple questions that people could come to the meeting with.
Yeah.
That might be a way to get that off the ground.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. That's a great idea.
Stephanie's writing some great copy here, you guys.
Oh, there's all sorts of stuff happening in the chat. And I didn't even notice. I've been so focused on you guys. Oh, wow. She's got some ideas for you in there, Thomas.
Mm-hmm. I've been copying them over.
Nice. Oh, are you sick of the memory hole? That's good. Nice. Good stuff. Well, let's see, should we transition into something else? I think
We have benefits and features exercise.
That's right. We do have another exercise, features and benefits. Yes. So yeah, I started talking about this earlier, it's that I always come back to that classic saying that, features tell and benefits sell. So learning to, especially as a copywriter, learning to think in terms of benefits. And, you mentioned, Thomas, you mentioned that you were, working on first expressing the benefits before connecting to the feature. And that's absolutely a great strategy, because nobody's going to care about that feature until they learn how it's going to help them. So I did just like a really quick, just a quick example of how this could look in real practice. So for copywriting course that I've been creating, Copywriting with Excellence. So one feature is that, one thing that's I'd like to think is fairly unique in the ways that I teach copywriting is really focusing on the ethical side of copywriting, or trust-based copywriting. So, that I look at as a feature. This is the focus, but so what does that matter to me? So the benefit, keeping your focus on trust, allows you to really stay aligned with your values and your personal standards, so that you can really feel good about the work, about your work and what you're creating. It's a little bit of a run-on sentence. If I were to put that in the Hemingway app, I would probably break that up into some, better verbiage, but this is just off the cuff of just trying to think like, what does this matter? And for me, it's connecting to my values and just really, like I said, my personal standards on how I want to live and how I want to communicate. And, this is one of the biggest issues because I never thought I would get into the world of marketing. If you would have asked me, 5-10 years ago, I would have never, I guess I've been in this for like 5 years now, but beyond that, I would have never thought that I've gotten into this work. I just love writing and love words and wanted to get out of waitressing and just kind of fell into it. But I've really found purpose in this work and being able to really help businesses and people that I care about what they're putting out into the world, and I can help them get it out to their audience in the right way, or in the right way, but in a way that's going to resonate with their audience and also going to keep in alignment with the people. Like, I don't like working with shady people, so I don't work with shady people. So why would I use shady tactics in my marketing? And this is why, marketing has left a really bad taste in people's mouths, is because of all of the, the snake oil stuff and the manipulative clickbait tactics. And so Sabri Subi, and I'm just thinking about clickbait, and Sabri Subi says to try and find that line between clickbait and, I think it's in curiosity, but you're trying to grab attention, you're trying to create intrigue, but not being a freaking sleazeball about it, like, I think that's the balancing act as marketers that we, have to try and walk that line. And I heard Richard say many times, the freedom community has a marketing problem. And that's because, marketing, there's so many of those sleazy tactics out there. And so we have the opportunity as copywriters and just good individuals to bring this back into an ethical sphere and, bring trust back into the marketing world. Went off on a soapbox there. My second example, so copywriting course, there's practice exercise in most modules. And so benefits, this is where the real growth happens. I think what I say on my landing page, you can read and watch copywriting videos and lessons all day long, but until you actually start to implement it and practice it, you're not going to get anywhere. So, when you level up from just reading and watching lessons to actually implementing and practicing, you're going to advance 10 times faster or more. So, that's a tangible benefit that someone can anchor onto. So this would be a great exercise to for everyone, to do, maybe prepare something and think about this for next month. Thomas, for your offers, this would be a great thing too, just a good exercise. Here's an example. So it's a little bit old and outdated, but this is a big features and benefits spreadsheet that we created for AUTONOMY. So last edit was in May of last year. And I think we worked on this back in 2020, but for all of these, these are all different features of AUTONOMY. And so when you're doing this kind of practice, you would start by writing out all of the features that you can think of. on a left-hand column. And then really taking your time to try and extend that into the benefits, the outcomes of, you know, how this is going to really impact someone's life. And so again, this is a little bit out of date, but when you have something like this, like there's a ton of information in here. I don't know if you can see how tiny the scroll bar is in here. We've got a lot of stuff in here. So when I'm writing promotions for autonomy, or I'm working on something, I'm actually in the process of helping to rewrite the Ignite page, the sales page for autonomy. I have this resource that I can come back to anytime that I need to, and I can pull these benefits out where I need them, and, you know, strategically put them where they need to be on the page. So this is like a foundational thing that I do for most clients when they're coming on with me. When I'm in the audience research phase, you know, there's different phases of the copywriting process, and research is always first step, and, you know, it kind of comes full circle. After you get done with something, you start back over with researching. Part of that research phase is I put in the features and benefits as part of that phase, because, you know, this is where I'm starting to research, figuring out what all the features are, coming up with all of these benefits, rewriting benefits, you know, revising like over time. Like this needs an update. I definitely want to come back through here at some point and do an update, because we've upped our game since this was done. Same reason why we're, you know, updating the Ignite page, because we've really upped our game since that page was written. So it needs a revamp. But like I said, having this resource just at your disposal when I'm about to write a promotional email and I just really need some quick benefits that I can put into, you know, a bulleted list in the email, I can come here and I can grab the appropriate ones. So, features and benefits, great exercise for every copywriter to practice.
You know, but it's true. Since autonomy, my money situation has been much better. And I haven't changed anything but my thinking.
Yeah.
Like I don't necessarily have any more skills or whatever.
And it's fun because you can I'm just like looking at this list, and I mean, I can look at some of these, like I exchange a scarcity mindset for one of abundance. I could say to myself, that actually could almost be more of a feature. And I could say, so if I had that, what would I have? And take it even to the next level. And so if I were to exchange a scarcity mindset for one of abundance and have an abundance mindset, then what would that give me? What could that give me in my life? And start to answer those questions. And so you can just start to build on these. And so that's why like having a spreadsheet like this is good, because I'll have several different benefits just stemming off of one feature, and it'll just build off top of each other. So you just ask yourself the question, okay, if I had that, then what would that give me? Yeah. Thoughts? Anyone?
Have you thought about putting your list here on the benefit side into a categorized list, or would you consider the features more the category that they fall into?
I consider the features to be the category, because that's kind of what we start building off of. And so I almost it's like you could almost look at this as like a pyramid where, you know, one's self-reliance at the top, but then what is all going to come down from that? What is all of this going to build off of? But that's how I would start, at least by categorizing, is on the left-hand side, you have a feature, and then as many benefits building off of that as you can come into. Because then when I am coming in here for something quick and I say, okay, I want, you know, to talk about the live lectures or, you know, high value skills. What does that mean? What is that going to give someone? I can just really quickly come in here and then start, you know, building off of the benefits that are in there. So, you know, I think this is probably the simplest way, especially getting started, to categorize them. But if you find a way that works best for you, then modify the structure to fit your needs. Definitely. Marcin, you were going to start saying something.
Yeah, I was trying to do once Ludwig sent me those future and benefits, and he said, okay, so you have the form and now do it. I was like, what? And yeah, in my case, it was like I was striving to have this like craftsman workshop and having clients for this. And in the meantime, I decided like, I don't really want to do that. I never did. I did it only to have some way of income and have anything to do. So I wanted to ask you, are there, for example, any good ways to find out if I can be good at marketing or copywriting or those kinds of things?
Well, with all of these things, it really comes with practice, practice and time. And especially, I think copywriting in particular is something like, you know, someone could come in and kind of have a knack for it. But I mean, these are skills that really get built over time and trial and error. And I mean, oh my gosh, when I look back to 2018, to the stuff that I was writing when I first started, and like, ooh, I could cringe at what I wrote back then. It's not that what I wrote didn't work for what I needed at the time. When I was smaller, working with smaller clients, this and that, like it still did its job. It wasn't necessarily like, but you know, it could have been a lot better. It definitely needed a lot of optimization, but I needed that to get to where I am now. And I'm still, even stuff that I worked on 2 years ago, I could definitely see lots of ways that I could optimize it. So we continue learning as time goes on. So with anything, it's just, it's a muscle, and you're learning to use it, learning to build it and get stronger as you go. So I think by just practicing, learning, being okay with not being great at it right off the bat, you know, as with most skills, I think that most people can learn how to do this. Agnieszka, would you have any?
It reminds me a lot of software development, because you're always making refinements, little nuances you factor in, and it's like you never get to a final point. You say it's good enough for now for this purpose, and then later on you find other purposes and other reasons to refine it even further, and so the nuance refinement goes on more and more. I see a lot of similarities between the two types of changes that you make for the words you use versus the code that I make for software.
Same
Absolutely.
with doing furniture, man.
And you know, the world of copywriting and just marketing in general is constantly evolving. That's another factor to play into this too, where, you know, there's some timeless techniques that, you know, will continue to be effective as time goes on. But, you know, the more that we go, I mean, even simple, let's see, like things like, delivering a lead, like lead generation. So delivering a lead magnet and having like a planned out, timed out sequence. Sometimes, like these days, I know I've heard a lot of people that aren't gravitating towards lead magnets as much, because they know that this is something that, you know, you're just trying to get my email address and try and get me in the door. So
Right.
People, I think, are getting a little bit more guarded when it comes to marketing, because, you know, so many of these strategies have been, you know, ill-used and overused. So, you know, it's
Overused, yes.
Overused, definitely. And so, you know.
Okay, so first of all, to answer your earlier question, I think that there's one specific skill that is needed in order to be a marketer, and that is a healthy interest in other people's psychology. If you have no interest in other people's psychology, you could not be a marketer. Sorry, my camera's off. If you have no interest in other people's psychology, you cannot be a marketer, because it'll never work, because you won't ever care enough to make it sound in a way that they need to have it sound. So if you're curious about people's nature, about that whole, you know, that whole thing, then sure, yeah, the rest of the skills, the mechanical writing and all of that, that's easy to learn, you know, what to do and what not to do and all that. But that healthy interest in other people's psychology. And the second thing, what was the second thing you were just talking about?
Me? I don't know.
No, Karen.
I was talking about the world of marketing evolving and changing.
Oh, yes, that's right. So most of the courses, like the Savvy Subis and those kind of people, not Savvy Subi specifically, because he's an exception, I think. But a lot of the courses like that, they have a very short lived thing, because what happens is some kind of marketing guru like myself comes up with a really good system that works for them right now. And they gain a lot of money from the system. And they're like, oh my God, I have the golden ticket. I have the tool that'll fix everything, right? They write it down, how they did it, everything, everything is perfect. They make it so that you can just plug and play and buy a whole box and just do it exactly how they did it. And they're honestly thinking that that's gonna work. But the thing is, the world changes every 3 months. By the time you find a successful strategy and you package it in a box, that time that it takes for you to verify that it works and to put it in a box is already too much time and it no longer works. So most of the people were like all excited, like, wow, it worked 3 months ago. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to do it. It may not work for them at all.
We're kind of talking about the whole nature of how consciousness evolves and how, like you say, the one side of the equation is we've had all these formulas that worked in the past, but as the world's consciousness changes, those same tools do not apply, do not work as well. So we have to change the game up, and we have to be in tune with those changes in consciousness before we can make those changes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, and it kind of ties back into like who your audience is too, and what kind of offers and things that they're going to be most receptive to. And being willing to learn. I heard Joanna Weave of Copy Hackers said something that I heard that really stuck with me. And it was, in relation to when you're working with clients, you said, never, ever promise results, because there's too many variables at play. They, could not be that strong of an offer. Things change. But what you can promise is that you're going to learn. You're going to learn and optimize and continue to improve as time goes on. That's the best you can do. And she said, if you promise results, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. But you can promise that you're going to learn and, and continue to optimize.
That's a really excellent point. In fact, the whole idea of one of the ways that software has been developed in the long distant past was you do marketing research and you figure out what your problems and needs and audiences, and then you go build the product. Well, that doesn't work anymore, because by the time you've built the product, all the problems and needs have changed. So it's really difficult to follow this, build it after you do all the research. So you kind of have to do what I did, which is start with your passion, do what you know you need to be able to do, what you can do. And then when you get to that final stage where you've got something that's got some value to it, then you start changing it up and how you might need to change it for a particular audience and move forward from that point.
Absolutely. I'm dealing with that with a current client of mine right now who they put out, at the end of last year, they developed this, it was like an introduction to meditation course. So they're like a Hindu organization that I've worked with for years. And so they made this meditation course and they put it out for like $59 or something. And I mean, they got a good amount of signups right in the beginning, and then it like tapered off. And so we were like, okay, we went over the holiday time into New Year, still weren't getting a ton of bites. So we started switching things in our copy on our landing page and in our advertisement. And right now at the point of this, what we're at is we've done these changes. The ads are getting great clicks. People are making it to the landing page. They're even making it to the checkout page, and then they're dropping off and we're not getting any signups. So we're trying to look at like, okay, well, one thing they did was they dropped the price. And in my opinion, that dropped the value of the course, where they were trying to make it this, they put it $33 because they wanted to have this, spiritual number, or something. And we've gotten no signups. And so just recently we had to have this conversation with them of two different things that we're trying now and we're testing. Is one, just giving the damn thing away for free. Because they have lots of other courses that they offer. So we said, okay, well, it's well produced. It's not that expensive of a course, and it's not that big of a course either. It's like 4 or 5 lessons or something. So we've talked to them, we're going to offer it for free for the next couple of weeks and just find out, okay, is that where the bottleneck was? Is people getting hung up on the price, whether it's too, probably in my opinion, it's too cheap. It lessens the value of the whole thing. But then the other thing I had to bring up is I said, maybe this isn't the offer people want right now. Maybe people don't care. Maybe this is a culture shock where then they're coming into this and they're seeing this Swami and all orange and not, ready for the Hindu experience or something. But just, I had to bring up the reality that maybe this isn't what people want right now. And we have to consider that and take that into consideration. It doesn't matter how much effort was put into making it. If people don't want it, you're just going to waste your money trying to advertise to get it out to people. So, maybe I'll let you guys know next month on more results on how that shifts. And I can see, because that's one experience, example though, of we're in a learning phase with this, and we're constantly learning and just having to see, what's working, what's not, and how can we adapt.
I just wanted to say, this is kind of an experience that I had in regard to working with the big companies and stuff, and that was their inability to be flexible. And as far as opportunity is concerned, what you said earlier, Kara, about the freedom community, and what Richard said about, the freedom community that has this marketing problem. that this is an incredible opportunity to, you know, bring in that flexibility. We are learners, and to me, this is, it just seems like it's the ultimate opportunity where, you know, we can be flexible, and we can go up against a system that is inflexible. So to me, I think we're moving into that era when it's, you know, this is where we need to be. We are in the sweet spot. We just got to realize it. And as far as that feature and benefits thing, if that project is not going fast enough for you, Kara, I'd certainly like to be involved in that, because I need to learn this stuff better myself. And I think what, you know, I know autonomy pretty well. I probably help you out with that feature and benefit thing.
Cool.
And learn it better for myself.
Awesome. Sounds great. Any more thoughts or questions coming up after this discussion?
I had a question back to the emails for Benny. So the benefits to the podcaster or whoever would be like, you know, expose their audience to, well, I wrote out some things, and this is going to be kind of cheesy, just off the top of my head. Strengthen the army of information warriors with a fun and informative discussion on mimetic warfare, or like turn your audience into allies, or activate your audience. And then I put, give them an inside look at how we use memes to attract attention without clickbait. Expose them to something light, because, you know, there's all this darkness out there, and it's fun and to talk about memes. We're all trying to find solutions and truth. We're all hoping for the chance to build a better world, and it sure would be nice to expose the evildoers in the meantime. Memes are one very effective doorway into the place this work is being done. So that's all like way too many words, but that's just like my ideas about the benefits of them bringing him on their show.
Oh, you had some gold nuggets in there for sure.
Okay.
Good nuggets in there. Activate your audience was a good one.
Yeah. Thanks.
The first one that you said in reference to memes really stuck out to me. Read it again.
Let's see. Oh,
Was
that's
it
not
being a doorway? Was that the one? Something about being a doorway?
Oh, yeah. Memes are one very effective doorway into the place this work is being done. Because I wrote, we're all hoping for the chance to build a better world, and it sure would be nice to expose the evildoers in the meantime. Memes are one.
Yeah, and then what was the other one? The first one that you said in reference to memes.
The very first thing I said in reference to memes was like activate your audience with a fun and informative discussion on mimetic warfare. Or, give them an inside look at how we use memes to attract attention without clickbait.
Yes. I like that one. It was really clear. So I know that some of the first ones that you read, I had to think about, wait, what is she actually trying to say? So that's another, you know, just it's something that if you, the more time you guys spend with me, you'll hear me say this more than once, and that's clarity over cleverness. Every time. If you can achieve both, that's awesome. But focus on clarity before being clever. Because, you know, and this is where like the Hemingway app tool gets really effective, is, you know, because the clear, if someone has to read something more than once to understand what's being said, then you have a problem. That's where, you know, you have to do a little bit of tweaking and rewriting to make it extra clear. And did Helen make it today? Helen is like the master of cleverness. She is like my clever, witty wordsmith of any time that I need something unique and clever, while also oftentimes being clear. I go to Helen, my go-to person. I thought that there wasn't as much going on in the chat without her here today.
Right.
I think she had other stuff going on, which is fine.
Well, I can play around with the activate your audience thing, and with the give them an inside look at how we use memes to attract attention without clickbait.
And you did good connecting with them. Like there was, you know, some of that stuff you said at the end, it connected on that emotional level of that joint venture, joint goals that, you know, Benny and them are going to have together.
Another
Yes,
thing
very
that's
you.
strong about Benny is his, you know, he's very entertaining. He's very fun. I think you use the word fun in there somewhere. And I think those are things that I would think are characteristic of Benny that might be useful for inclusion there too.
Right, yeah.
I really like the turn your audience into allies bit. I think I might use that in other copywriting endeavors because that's really a powerful thing.
Yeah, I might just break it up into 2 sentences. They don't have to be a complete, what's the word for a complete sentence? Independent. Like it could just be like an order, like activate your audience, turn them into allies. I don't know.
Mhm.
And you know, using Hemingway app could really help with like language barrier, syntax problems. Like for matching, for example, when you're still figuring out like learning English, sometimes what I used to do is I used to have Polish syntax in English. So it would make sense to me in my head because it's normal for me, but then it wouldn't make sense to the English speaker. And Hemingway app would pull that out and say, oh, no, you have the wrong syntax there. Or this is not clear or something like that. And then you know that you have to rephrase it in English.
Okay.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
Is there a free version of Hemingway or is it only
Yep.
paid?
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
always
Yep.
free.
It's free. You can purchase a desktop app for like $20, which I did once on a past computer of mine, and then realized it was very unnecessary.
Oh.
I'll put the link into our Zoom chat.
Worth paying them
Yes, it's free.
just because they make a good app and never download it, just pay them the $20 as a thank you. You know,
Yeah.
because it's a good app, I use it a lot, just like that subject line. And that's why I didn't mind giving the subject line people my email address because it's a small price for what I'm getting for it.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Like,
One
I
thing
did
that
Kara, oh, is it worth it? Yeah. Sorry.
I don't want to derail us here too much, but how do you pronounce your, I never get your name pronounced properly. Agnesia?
It's Agnieszka.
Agnieszka. One of the things I would like to do, if possible, is I've got a microphone, a reasonably high-end microphone. You've had this problem with a microphone forever, and it's very difficult for me to hear you. So I'd like to send you this microphone free if I could. Is that something you can accept international deliveries from? I need to figure out how to do that.
Sure, I could, but I don't think that's the issue because I have a really good microphone. I think and you guys just need to let me know if there's an issue. Because maybe see, no, it's on the idea. Why?
It's
There's just a lot of echo.
Go ahead and send
in
it.
there.
We could always use an extra
You could
microphone.
always use another one, yeah. But the echo is really bad. It's like you're far away. You're in a tunnel. It just seems to me like it's a microphone problem to me.
Is it better now?
Maybe
Yeah.
just a
That was better.
It was just like a thing on the back of the microphone that I had to
Well,
swear.
that definitely helps.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
know that
definitely
there
helps.
was an issue with my sound because nobody said anything.
Ah,
But yeah, I have a couple other buttons I can play with here too.
yeah.
But I
it
think
made
it's
a
good,
big
right?
difference.
I
Okay.
can't do nothing about the music on the street, but
Of course not, yeah.
it's Mexico.
And Kara, just to finish up with you, is when you talked with Joshua or whatever about other forms of payment, and if it turns out that that's not something they can do or do in a reasonable time frame, give me, send me a PM or a DM of how I can get a check to you if that's what
Sure.
it takes.
absolutely. Thank you. Well, what do we want to do now? Oh, what's
By
up,
the way,
Agnieszka?
Hang on a second. So if you're sending a microphone to us in Acapulco, if you know somebody who's getting rid of some computer, there is at least one person in Acapulco that could use a donation of a computer. That would be very grateful if some, computer that's not being used is laying around somewhere. They would.
Well, I imagine the shipping costs on a computer would be quite a bit different than a small microphone. Even actually the microphone box is not all that small.
Well, maybe
About a
we
hand each,
something
I
about.
But at any rate, it's something that I'm prepared to do for you if that's going to be useful. And apparently it'll be useful to somebody, so I'll send it to whoever's address would be convenient to send it to. Like, make sure you communicate that to me with a DM, and I'll see what I can do to get that shipped down to you. Now, I don't know what the options of that are, but I'll explore that and figure it out.
Yeah, we can figure it out together. If there's needs to be assistance with the shipping costs, I can aid with that as well.
Oh, shipping costs shouldn't be a big deal. I mean, maybe we could split the shipping costs. Like, I don't really think, let me think about it a little bit more in terms of computer ask, but as far as the microphone, I think I can handle that without a problem.
All right, sounds good.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well, let's see. What do we want to do for our last 25 minutes together? Oh, 25 minutes. Actually, you guys give me 2 minutes. I've had a lot of tea. I'm going to run down the hall, ask Agnieszka a fun question.
I was just going to comment on something Stephanie said, because I was just reading another thing and I actually asked a question of Max Egan in regard to this too, is this idea of silent weapons and quiet wars. And you said, you brought up the word mimetic warfare.
Yeah,
I
didn't understand what that word was.
That to me, that's one of those silent weapons that is out there. I'll send you a couple of the quotes from that paper called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, and you might be able to put those two things together and really come up with something that a lot of people I know have heard of that, and they want to go to war with the bad guys, but they don't know how to do it, and this could be something for them.
One thing that comes to mind right off the bat, and you guys would give me good feedback on this, is when that word was used, I didn't even know what it was. So would it be better to say meme warfare rather than mimetic warfare? Because meme warfare, I know exactly what you're talking about. Mimetic warfare, I was gonna, what the heck is that? So just my input.
Yeah, that's something to take into account. I think maybe on first reference, just say meme, and then maybe after that, then they'll say, oh, we're talking about memes, so mimetic warfare, and they'll put it together. And they might already
That's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Good thought.
Are you gonna Discord me that, Mike? Yeah, thanks.
I would like to know if Wendy has anything to say.
Well, thank you. I don't have anything to say. I'm a big listener right now. This is my first time. I just started Kara's course. And so, so I'm just learning and listening, and I'm learning a lot. I really appreciate this. It's great.
Nice.
Awesome. Glad you're
You
here.
know what? Speaking of Kara's course, I would like to know how you go about doing that. Like, oh, what is it called? It's like the rapid.
The rapid fire review mining.
Yeah, can you like show me how to do that? Because I tried to do it and I think I did it wrong.
Sure. Let me pull up the information. So
It seemed like you had to like put the quotes in the right spot, or I don't know. And speaking of finding Benny's voice, I like put his podcast, or put Meme Mondays on while I was falling asleep last night. Like absorb his voice while I was sleeping.
Yeah, I often have my clients in the background when I'm like, or working on something that I'm really familiar with, like a project that I'm already really like engrossed in. And then I'll listen to a new project in the background. So I'm getting to know the guy just from listening to him talk about whatever. And then the next, like an hour later, whatever, I start to write. So I still have his slide.
Nice, good idea.
okay, so what I'm going to do is put the link to the article in the chat so that people can have this to save, and then we're going to show how this could be done in real time. So this is a strategy that I learned from copy hackers. And so, part of what the Halo strategy research, audience research that Sabri Subi taught of, doing all of that review mining and stuff is really great. And I found this trick from Joanna Weeb on how to do basically like a shortcut to identifying what you're trying to get. So I scrolled down to find where it was. So basically what you can do, so say you want to try, you're trying to find like information on, this is just an example on like a product review. So what you would literally do is copy this and put it into your search engine. Unfortunately, I don't know if you have to use, sometimes for this one purpose, Google can be more effective because of just a lot of people that use it. But essentially you just put this in and they replace the keyword with your keyword. So what would the keyword here be? It could be memes. Maybe we could just do memes and see what happens.
Yeah, well, and it was actually in the context of Planet Lockdown. So I was thinking like lockdowns or tyranny.
So this one in particular, this is going for an Amazon site. So maybe this isn't the best one to use for this purpose. Oh, but look at this, like right off the bat. So I was tired of the fear mongering, speculative reporting, and finger pointing. So this is gonna try, it's gonna do this like honed in search. So because usually like I'll scour Amazon reviews for lots and lots of things, looking at book reviews, product reviews, and it can be a really great way to find this kind of information. But sitting and going through each and every one can get really time consuming. So using that search tool, and they have different ones. I know that there's, let's see, not sure exactly where, so there's other ways that you can do it. Frustrated by, so you're looking for people that say things like tired of or frustrated by, and then, getting more of the stuff in there. I feel like there was another one, another way that you could do this. I really need to do a little bit more digging in because I just haven't done this in a while, because I would awesome people like you, Stephanie, helping me out with audience research. But that one had, so then it would just be a matter of finding where that was. But, you can kind of see just in the snapshot of seeing some of that language that you'd be looking for. So it still takes a little bit of kind of looking through once you click on the link and go and check it out. But this can help try and get to the meat of what you're searching for. So it kind of depends on who you're researching and what you're researching on if this is most effective. So it just kind of depends. But like, I like this, it was encouraging to me seeing this right off the bat. I was tired of the fear mongering, speculative reporting, and finger pointing that seems like to, and then I wonder where that, let's see. So let's do this. I'm gonna take this, copy that, go into this page and Control F. And there we go. Now I can find where this was. And ooh, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. This huge review that, has some stuff about, looks like about a book, but this is where you can start to find like, where was it? And so you're tired to be the main response to this virus. So, these are some decent language that you could copy and paste into your Halo spreadsheet.
Awesome.
So did that kind of help put that, bring that to life? I should put together an actual, because I kind of included the link to that article, because one thing in my course, I'm not just like limiting to what I can tell you guys. I'm taking lots of different stuff from other copywriters and other professionals and trying to punch in as many resources as possible into the course. So this was one that I think I just kind of like dropped the link casually in the middle of the lesson without actually giving like a walkthrough on how to do this in practice. So this is good though. This is good feedback, and it's something that I can add into the ever-growing course as it evolves.
Yeah, thank you. I was just trying to type it in. I didn't like go to the link and then copy it.
Totally. Yeah. So it's taking that formula and you can switch out things. You can switch out like frustrated by and stuff like that. You could switch out the site for if there's a different site that you're trying to look at, or I'm sure you could do this for like Reddit or Quora, put in a different site in here. And then, something else in the quotes. So maybe it wouldn't be product reviews. Maybe you would just even take this out altogether and just look for frustrated by and then put in your keyword. So it's just kind of plugging it in, playing with it, and seeing what you can find. But it's definitely when figuring out how to use it right, it can be so much faster than having to sift through one thing at a time. I've sifted through 50 Amazon reviews before I found something that actually helped me in my research before.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Ah, thanks for asking. I need to write that down actually, because I would like to. I think making a walkthrough video would be helpful for this. You guys help me too. Well, thanks for the question.
Of course.
Well, what else do you guys want to know in our 15 minutes? I do have a hard stop at the top of the hour today. I have another meeting I'll be jumping into then, but I'm actually getting some coaching from Ron Renaud, which is nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned the Halo spreadsheet. Is that something I'm going to come across in the course and I will be explained there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So after the foundational practices module, there's going to be a whole module on audience research, and that's going to
Okay.
dig into how to do the Halo strategy. And you'll get a link to your own spreadsheet that you can use. And so
Okay.
really, really great foundational practice.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, how are you guys feeling? Should we call it a day and, just go about our time, or?
Just hear
Well,
me.
If nobody has anything else, what I would like to ask is part of the research that you guys have suggested that needs to be done, which is to just give you a URL to the solutions and features, since we did talk about features and benefits, I should say. To give you a quick, if you would just give a quick scan and give me some off the cuff comments about what you see there, if that's
Sure.
something you're willing to do.
Can I give you a psychic comment before I see it?
Sure, absolutely. Always
So-
open.
What I see in my mind's eye psychically is that a lot of the sentences in the solutions page talk about your solutions and your point of view on the solutions and how you deliver the solutions and what solutions you deliver and why you deliver those solutions and why you should be delivering all that. And I think that every single sentence that talks about that should be changed to, you wanted a solution for this, and this is why I created this solution. And I got voices from you, and this is why this now exists. It's for you, right? So every time you talk about me and I created it, you need to switch it to, this is for you. I created it for you.
That's great input.
Yeah, it's
You all
similar
got this through the
to
psychic airwaves. Cool.
it's similar to when you're writing an about page. So if you're writing a page on your website that's about you or about the business or whatever it may be, the common misconception is like, even though that page says it's about you, it's still about them. So it's still figuring out how you can connect to what this is about you, but how is it also about them? Because nobody's going to care about you at that point. Very few.
That's excellent input. Thank you.
Yeah. So where can you gonna drop
Okay,
us
let
the
me just-
URL?
Sure. Let me pop that up in the chat here. Got so many windows open. Let me clear my desk here. Where'd my chat window go? I keep clicking on the button and it's not showing. There it is. No, it's not. Ah. It must be hidden behind one of these windows. There it is. All right, here we go. It's very simple. If it would type in the window when I click on it, it would be helpful.
The one time last week, there was a wedding.
Okay, there you go. Now at the very bottom of that page in the footer is is where you'll want to click, and that will be where the features and benefits are. It's just labeled very precisely right there. So you can see I highlighted the benefits in a cyan color. So just scan the list and I'm just looking for a broad input. I mean, what you just gave me, Ineska, is really good. I wrote that down, but any other broad comments you might want to make on this stuff would be fantastic. I can use for fuel here.
I have never thought about ease of use before going to sleep.
And so it's kind of that, like, I'm gonna keep, so if this is easy for me to use, what will that give me? Why does this matter to me? How's it gonna help me in other parts of my life? How is it gonna make the rest of my stuff easier?
What
The
is?
application of the ease of use, yes.
So like basically something more like you're not going to be wasting your time learning a whole new device. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
it's about bringing the functionality into a format that is user friendly, is another buzzword that people use a lot. So it's not like I have to type into a lot of commands.
Functionality
It's
of what?
right there in front
The functionality of what?
Control
of the
panel.
pirate box of the IPFS, being able to interact with IPFS. If you want to obtain content or put content out there, how do you do that easily? That's what this comment was about.
Finally, an easy way to put out content. Just based on what you said, it might not be the end all, but to try and,
What is it? Is it like a coffee cup? How does it put out? Like, see, the thing is, IPFS, it's like an acronym. I don't really, it's not an emotional word. So I don't know, like,
Well,
I'm on the solutions page. I'm not really sure what I'm buying.
but the people that his target audience, though, they're gonna know what this means when they land here, right?
I would say, generally speaking, at this stage of its development, yes, I think most people are going to be pretty informed, but I got to do the research to really see who has expressed interest and why they've expressed the interest.
See, but I understand all the words. It's a graphical interface that gives me a control panel over my Chrome, my web browser. Okay, why do I need it? Like, I still
Yeah,
don't
the
know.
why is, I don't really see the why so much as what it is.
That's because you're the builder. But as a
That's
customer,
probably right.
why do I want it? Why would I want to change the interface that it comes with to this other interface? Like, so my buttons will be different, but what does that give me? More privacy. Okay, so if the buttons are different, but will it be confusing? Like, will the buttons be so different that I don't know how to use it anymore?
So
I feel a little in the dark about what it does. You know what I mean?
So maybe, yeah, so trying to find that connection. I mean, I think ease of use, it's too simple. It's a benefit, but it's too simple
broad
in nature. Yeah, too simple, too broad. So how can you really connect it and bring it to life for them where, oh, this is why I care that this is easy to use. This is what ease of use actually means for me and how I'm going to use this.
That connects what Aneska was just saying. That's I wasn't really tuned in to what you were saying that well until you just said that, Kara. That really made me understand what you were saying.
That's why Agni and I work so well together. We each have stuff that the other, yeah, we bring it all together. So easily find IPFS content. So kind of the same question of how, so, okay, how is this different from ease of use? Easily finding this tool. Based on data collected. Maybe it's my own limitations, but a lot of this didn't even make sense to me. But that's me. But that's also probably because I may not be your target audience in this, as far as these, tools go.
Okay, I'm just taking it all in.
I think it's because you're using tech talk here. You're not using emotional language, and I think that. Like, even if I'm a tech who understands the words, I still need emotional language to make a decision, and only tech talk makes me feel lost.
Yeah, it's the jargon, right? The industry jargon that, can make sense to all of the, and can even, be speaking in the language as, the people like you, like developing this, but bringing that emotionalness into it, bringing that humanness into it.
I could say something because I was very interested in this idea, like having first time I hear pirate box, wow, something cryptocurrency, cryptography, IPFS, pirate box. It sounds like something interesting, like it wasn't there before. I think the name and the mystery drove me here. Like, but I have some background with understand, like very little, and I cannot like get a lot or any understanding what the IPFS is really is. And I'm saying it because I think it will be good to have distinction between people who like maybe first of all, like I guess it's like what you have here. It's like for Kara explained that you have these 5 steps of familiarity, kind of. So I get like it's for like level 4 or 5 here. So with the people who actually know, for programmers, for people who know the terms. But if I'm interested in the idea, I would like to know like what that it gives me, what that takes out that I don't want to have, because I like the idea that there is something that can, sorry for my French, fuck with the system somehow, because I really like that idea, because I know how system is corrupted. And if there will be some kind of marketing, like we have the tool for or the piece in a puzzle to tear down government, or what you will do. It's I know it's too much, but what will you do when the network shuts down? How you connect with the people? But I'm just guessing, because I'm still not knowing what the IPFS is. So having like educating the person. So you scroll the page and IPFS, and then you have this acronym 10. What it gives you? It gives you this.
I understand, and just to kind of to satisfy a little bit, because I know we're short on time here, is on the front page is a link called IPFS right near the top, and there's a huge amount of information I need to figure out how to fold into this part of the presentation, because it goes through all kinds of depth about what IPFS is and how it can be useful for a lot of different things. But I just put the link there and said, well, they can go read that. But I know that's not going to be a very effective way to get the job done. So I'll figure out some way to get that information folded in as something that they will, for people like you, and there's going to be a lot of people like you, where they have these contextual, what the hell is it? What is IPFS? What am I here for? I have a general curiosity, but why are the details of why I'm here? So I need to be able to satisfy that and provide a clear way that they can go to that information, so they can at least understand what this thing's all about.
Yeah, it's like,
go ahead.
It's like Richard said, like you always want to have next meeting. So I've jumped into the Gigamesh, I've jumped into the Pirate Box channel on the Discord, but there is like, okay, you want me to go there? I went there, and I'm looking around, no, like nothing to done this. But I would like to have some interview with you, because we never had, and maybe it will be beneficial to speak later about this more.
No problem.
So my thinking here is, coming back to where we started at the very beginning about who your audience is, and you might have 2 different levels of audiences. So right now, this to me is speaking to the programmers and nobody else right now. So this might be programmer speak, or, thinking even about different personality types, maybe speaking to more of the analytical programmer. So what you could do, just an idea, is first off, see how you can translate this information to speak to the average person in words that they're going to understand. Below that, you could even have a little section for each one of these that says for the programmer, and you can go into industry speak right then in the way that they're going to understand. So there is ways where you can speak to more than one audience on a single page. I would lead with the clearest, clear cut, you know, kind of benefits and explanations that you can come up with first, but then you can like, all right, for that programmer who just like, you want to know the technical stuff that, you know, the other people aren't going to understand, have a section just for them right below each one.
I was just going to add something because actually Stephanie witnessed this the other day. We were in a networking meeting about Amazon influencers. And, you know, essentially there's like 500,000 YouTubers that are, you know, that have 1,000 or more subscribers. And there's only 2,000 Amazon influencers. But if you're going to build a business where, you know, and most of those people that are doing that, you know, they're bringing in, you know, hundreds to thousands of dollars a month as a business. But if YouTube shuts them down tomorrow, that flow goes away immediately. And so building a business where you have that kind of a switch for the, you know, the controllers to basically turn on and turn off, you want to have an alternative, and this is it.
Yeah. Going with that thought, Michael, I would just would, before it went out from my mind, like having this, you got those people who got, for example, a first strike on YouTube, and then those could be your customers. Like, okay, you got the first strike on the YouTube. Here is the solution. Yeah, you have a backup. This kind of way.
Very good.
I was wondering about like name dropping, because when I don't really understand IPFS either, but what comes to my mind is the people that I already know are using it, like James Corbett, you know, so, and they have a big following.
Absolutely. Great idea.
And they also done some kind of how we call it, education on it. So you can have, you don't know what the IPF is, here you have YouTube channel, YouTube exactly in Corbett Odyssey or his web page where he describes and in depth how that works.
Well, hey guys, I am at my time. I'm going to have to wrap this up for today. I have really enjoyed this time together. This has been a really rich couple of hours. Had a lot of fun. We had some laughter, and you all got some homework to do. So definitely practice your voice and tone exercise and features and benefits. So yeah, I would normally have a nice little slower goodbye, but I got to hop into my next meeting. Thanks, you guys. Thomas, did you get everything from the chat? Because I could download the chat file and get that to you if it's helpful.
That would really be helpful. Thank you.
You got it. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Ciao.
Thanks.